Before 1776, this land wasn't a democracy, it was the dominion of a king. The American colonies were just a small part of the vast British Empire, and the fate of millions rested in the hands of one man, King George III. Colonists across the Atlantic paid heavy taxes, obeyed laws made thousands of miles away, and had no say in their own governance. Their frustration simmered, then boiled over into open rebellion. The revolution wasn't just about taxes, it was about power. In 1776, the Declaration of Independence was a radical announcement to the world. It declared that America would no longer bow to a king. The promise was clear and powerful. In this new nation, power would belong to the people. But power is a stubborn thing. It doesn't just disappear, it changes its shape. The title of king was gone, but the need for a leader remained. And with that, a new kind of ruler was born. George Washington, the hero of the Revolution, became the first president. He was celebrated as a champion of liberty, but he also wielded immense authority. As commander-in-chief, he led the army. As president, he shaped the very foundations of the new government, setting precedents that would echo for centuries. The office of the president was created, and with it, a new center of power. As the nation grew, so did the power of its leaders. Presidents spoke of freedom and equality, yet a dark contradiction lay at the heart of America. Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote that all men are created equal, owned enslaved people. His vision of an empire of liberty was built on the forced labor of some and the displacement of others. Presidential decisions fueled westward expansion, but this growth was paid for with a devastating human cost, as Native American tribes were systematically pushed from their ancestral lands. By the 19th century, American presidents began to act with the authority of emperors. Andrew Jackson, hailed as a man of the common people, signed the Indian Removal Act. This single act of presidential power led to the forced relocation of thousands of Native Americans. The brutal journey, known as the Trail of Tears, resulted in unimaginable suffering and death. It was a stark reminder of how much control one leader could wield, all under the banner of law and order. The nation's internal conflicts eventually erupted into the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln is remembered as the great emancipator, the president who saved the Union and ended slavery. But his leadership also plunged the country into its bloodiest conflict. His decisions to suspend civil liberties, raise a massive army, and wage total war demonstrated the extraordinary power vested in the presidency during a crisis. The survival of the entire nation hung on the actions of one man. As the 20th century dawned, America's ambitions turned outward. Presidents like Theodore Roosevelt believed it was America's destiny to become a global power. The military was expanded, and U.S. influence, backed by force, spread across the world. The presidency was no longer just a domestic office, it was becoming a global throne. The White House was now a center of international power, making decisions that would affect nations far beyond its borders. Then came the World Wars, which transformed the presidency and the world forever. Under Franklin D. Roosevelt, the United States emerged as a superpower. The government's role in the economy and in the lives of citizens expanded dramatically. After his death, his successor, Harry Truman, made a decision that would alter the course of human history. With his approval, atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. A single order from an American president unleashed a new and terrifying power, ending a war but ushering in an age of nuclear anxiety. The Cold War was a new kind of conflict, fought not just on battlefields but in the shadows. American presidents waged hidden wars, toppled foreign governments, and engaged in a global chess match against the Soviet Union. Intelligence agencies like the CIA grew immensely powerful, often operating outside of public view. Conflicts in Korea and Vietnam cost millions of lives, justified in the name of containing communism. Presidential authority swelled, often wrapped in secrecy and national security. Public trust began to fracture. The assassination of John F. Kennedy shook the nation to its core. Then, the Watergate scandal revealed a dark truth about the presidency. It showed how far a leader like Richard Nixon would go to cling to power, using the instruments of government to spy on his political opponents. The scandal forced a president to resign and left a deep scar on the American psyche. Even in a democracy, the ruler at the top could become a threat to the very system they swore to protect. The 21st century brought new challenges and a further expansion of presidential power. In the wake of the September 11th attacks, the nation went on a war footing. President George W. Bush launched wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, creating a new era of global conflict and surveillance. These decisions, made by one administration, reshaped the Middle East and had consequences that are still unfolding today. Once again, the power of the presidency proved to be world-altering. Today, American presidents command the most powerful military on Earth. Their words can move global markets, forge alliances, or bring nations to the brink of war. They speak of democracy and human rights, yet they wield a level of influence that would be the envy of ancient kings and emperors. The United States was founded on the rejection of monarchy, on the idea that no single person should hold absolute power. But history tells a different story. From King George to the modern president, the titles have changed, but the concentration of power has remained. The story of America is the story of its rulers and how their decisions have shaped the destiny of not just a nation, but the world. And even now, the impact of the person sitting in the White House is felt in every corner of the globe, a modern monarch in a democratic age. Thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more stories about how our world works.